We're back at Iseli Nursery, and today we're taking you through the selections of gorgeous specimens we're adding to our garden in 2026.
And we're joined again by Roby, the marketing director here at Iseli Nursery, who's going to give us some insights to the plants that we've chosen.
Roby, we are out here in the field looking at our very first plant that we'll be adding to our garden this season, and this is one that I chose, and it won't come as a surprise to anybody, but I chose a birch tree, and this is Cinnamon Curls Birch. Really excited about it. It stays smaller, right? So the tag here says it gets about 15 feet high, 12 feet wide, which is a decent size, but not tremendous. So kind of like an enormous shrub, a small tree. It's hardy down to -30, prefers full sun, grows about 6 to 12 inches per year. But tell me about cinnamon curls and what makes it so cool and unique to Iseli.
Right, so one of the problems with birch is that, at least out here, they are susceptible to birch borer. This is actually resistant. So
nice.
Big bonus, in my opinion, if you're going to plant a tree, that it's not going to have this sorts of pest issues. Additionally, it has nice, thicker leaves. So, I mean, they're just a little bit different. That kind of a leathery texture, a beautiful gold color in the fall. Additionally, the bark starts to peel at a younger age, so you get that peely cinnamon curls bark on a much smaller tree than you would otherwise have.
Now, is this a case of as the birch tree matures, the bark is going to get brighter white, or is this going to be more of like a gray bark?
It's a pretty white bark. I mean,
right.
At least in my experience. The one in the garden has a very white bark to it. And you just start seeing that at a much younger age.
Let's go see the one in the garden.
And here we are back in the main garden, and we get to see a more mature cinnamon curl specimen. And then look at the bark. The bark is a nice bright white. And there are some curls that have a cinnamon shade. It's really pretty.
The next selection that we made, this was one that I've been leaning on for a couple years since we saw it being released. This is Alpenglow. It's another Japanese maple from the Jack Frost collection, like our Arctic Jade and Ice Dragon. It's going to be a 15 high, 12 foot wide. As you can see, this is how they're stored for winter. Can you tell us a little bit about what this is called a cravo?
Yeah, I think it's Kravo. So basically it's just to protect them from the wind, and we don't really get extreme here, but you just never know with the winter, and when you grow on such a big scale, you can't just rapidly protect things.
Okay.
So all of the smaller maples end up in this building here, and then they get moved out in the spring before they leaf out. So as you can see, they're just starting to. So we're just slowly moving them out, and in the meantime, they're just stored here.
Awesome. And this selection, we've seen the color in person. It's a beautiful red maple. Is there anything else specific about it that you love?
Yeah, it's got a great spring color. It's a very nice red, and I like the fall color too. It has a thinner leaf wall, so you can see the light kind of penetrating through.
Oh, nice.
And Alpenglow is the name given to it because of that light shining through. So that's the sun reflecting on the mountain. So the sunset or sunrise on the mountains is Alpenglow. So that's where the name came from.
And this will be Alpenglowing in our backyard.
Absolutely.
Another one of my choices is right here. Look at this gorgeous sea of moonstones. Moonstones are part of the Iseli Blues collection, which are the bluest and the most cold hardy evergreens, hardy down to -50 degrees. This is going to be a nice globe-shaped growth habit. Grows about 2 to 4 inches per year, and the garden size is 2 high, 3 wide. I have the perfect spot in mind in our garden for this, right near our oak leaf hydrangea hedge we planted last fall. So tell us, what else makes the Moonstone so awesome?
Yeah, so unlike globosa, which will develop a leader, Moonstone does not. So it's going to maintain that nice globe shape. Grows about 2 inches per year consistently. All of the moonstones I've seen have been about that, so it's definitely not going to get too large too fast. So it stays nice and compact, and it has that nice blue color, a very vibrant blue in the spring with its new growth, but it stays blue really throughout the entire year. Now, some Picea pungens can look a little bit more gray in the winter. I honestly don't think that this one does at all. I think it stays a pretty consistent blue.
I was just about to ask you that, because also in the blues family is a Monte blue spruce, which we have, and I think in the winter it looks even brighter blue. And so this probably like that gets that super intense blue even in the cool months.
Absolutely. I mean, really, you're seeing winter color right now. It hasn't
Yeah.
gotten the new growth, and it stays pretty blue.
I'm really excited for this one.
Now we're in an actual greenhouse looking at another choice of mine, Sunny Swirl Hinoki Cypress. We all know I love the Hinoki Cypress, and we're adding lots of yellow to the garden this year. But look up close, Eric, at how cool the new growth is.
It is really cool.
Roby, tell us about what that growth is. Like, you said crested. Does it do anything special, or is it just the way it grows?
Yeah, it's just the way it grows. And it just kind of splays out there like this. And so it really gives it quite a unique and interesting texture.
It's got a little swirly, it has a little sunny, so it's definitely aptly named. This one says 8 feet high, 6 feet wide. Do you think these grow pretty quickly, or are they a pretty slow grower?
Moderate.
Moderate, okay.
Right in between.
Right in between, because I don't feel like a Hinoki cypress in our garden grows very quickly. So we'll see what it does.
And again, it may depend. Everything grows faster and bigger here. So
That's true, because we're in a nice, lovely climate where they don't freeze as much as we do.
Because it's a gold Hinoki cypress, and I know you probably don't have much experience on the East Coast, but would we want to err on the side of part sun because of the golden tinge?
that's always a consideration. It's hard to really say. I know that we do grow these in full sun, but I know Chamacypris can take more shade. So if you wanted to protect it, it'd probably be fine with that.
Maybe protect it from afternoon sun.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're going to have to protect it because I love this thing. I can't wait to see it in the garden.
Big surprise, I picked another blue evergreen, and this one I not only love the color of, but I really like the texture, and it is perfectly named. It is a curly tops, and it's a sawara cypress. I think it's such a cool texture. So is that basically what this is known for, is just specifically for the texture?
Yeah, a soft curly texture. I mean, it's a great one.
It's neat. And so this is hardy down to -20, and it says that it's sun to part shade. So it has a pretty wide range of placement in the garden. But I think this is going to bring a nice bright pop of blue to a really awesome place in the garden. Check out this mid-sized gold Hinoki cypress. This is the Verdoni Hinoki cypress. Tell us a little bit about this one, Roby.
Right, so of course it has that nice fanning and texture, but this has a nice gold color to it. We have a beautiful one in the garden. I'm a big fan of this, and I would say this is more of a specimen piece.
This one is about 8 feet high, 6 feet wide at garden size, hardy down to -20, and it grows slower than the other variety. This one is only 3 to 6 inches per year. So it's going to definitely be something that stays more compact, more of a showcase plant for the garden.
This Japanese maple selection is called, all right, let me get this right, Mikawa yatsubusa. It's a really interesting small Japanese maple that we've seen at the garden center a couple times, and the leafing is so cool. It kind of stacks on top of each other. What's the hardiness like on this? Because we're thinking about this for a container.
Sure, so it's just going to be your standard Japanese maple zone 5 hardiness, and it's great for containers, but as you know, with containers they're a little bit more vulnerable, so you may want to protect it in the winter if that makes it a little bit more susceptible to freeze damage.
Then, yeah, this will definitely be going in the garage. I love the fact that every specimen looks a little bit different. They're definitely kind of funky, and if this was in the ground in a protected spot, so it could get its full size. The tag says 6 high, 4 wide. Would you say that's pretty 10 to 15 years away, or?
Yeah, it's not a super fast grower, but like with any Japanese maple, you may want to prune it to keep it somewhat more contained or to shape it over time.
All right, cool. I think this is going to be a really fun addition.
We have been waiting for the perfect weeping Alaskan cedar that stayed nice and narrow, but got really tall and had gorgeous structure that would blow in the breeze. And we have found it in the Jubilee weeping Alaskan cedar. And we're going to be putting a trio of these on our berm in the back. So when you look up out into the garden, you'll be able to kind of see them creating sort of a screen on the green wall heading up onto the berm before we get into all the woods behind us. So tell us about the Jubilee weeping Alaskan cedar.
Absolutely. I mean, it's exactly what you said. It's going to create some height. It stays somewhat narrow in habit. But one of the great things about this is that it has a nice graceful flow in the breeze. So you're just going to get a nice movement in the garden.
Now, it's a pretty quick grower. The tag says it grows over 15 inches a year, which I think is pretty quick for an evergreen, right?
I would say that's pretty quick, certainly quicker than a lot of the ones on your list.
Yeah, hardy down to negative 20, and eventually it'll reach 25 high. And some of the lower branches, if we want them to, we could let them get as far as it seems to be 12 feet wide. Yeah, but again, we'll respond well to pruning.
I think that's one of the things, it's up to you. If you want it to stay more narrow, you can always prune off those errant branches. If you want to have a wider structure, then it will develop that over time.
Another addition to our back berm is going to be something we've never grown before, a green wave Atlas cedar, which is a really cool spreading habit, about 4 feet high, 8 feet wide potentially, right, if we let it get there. So tell us a little bit about this one, Roby.
Yeah, so this is a great option. It creates layers. It's an interesting texture, and I love the color to it. They will get large over time, but it doesn't grow super fast, so we'll stay somewhat compact.
I really like how the needles are grouped almost like a larch. Obviously, it's not a larch, it's a little pointier and stuff, but I like that you can see some of the bark through the bluish green foliage. I think it's going to add a nice structure to the back of the garden.
This selection that we made, it's called Heatherbun Atlantic White Cedar. And I have to admit, the first reason that I picked it was because it was funny sounding, Heatherbun. But as it turns out, it's this really soft, charming globe that does eventually over the years get a little conical. But the cool thing is that in the winter, it turns a dark plum color. So it'll give a really nice winter interest bonus on such a fluffy kind of thing. And it's a Chamaecyparis thioides, so Atlantic white cedar, 8 feet by 8 feet. But since it says 3 to 6 inches per year, I have a feeling it's going to take a long time.
More icy blue with our Deja blue gorgeous tree. I'm really excited about this one. It kind of reminds me of in our garden, across between our Monte blue spruce, which is part of the same collection, and the Tromnar blue spruce. And this is the Deja blue spruce. So tell us about this one, Roby.
Right, so we just started selling these last year, so this is a brand new part of the collection, in the Iseli Blues collection. This is actually going to be a larger, faster growing, more open habit than Monte, but it still has that nice blue, and you can see with the leader that there's quite a significant growth rate in comparison.
Quite a faster growth rate, right? This
Absolutely.
should get 15 high, which is taller than Monte, 8 wide, which is about the same width as Monte. So it is, I guess, overall will look more narrow. Full sun, 6 to 12 inches per year, and you can see the foliage is a little darker on the inside than it is on the outside, so you'll get that nice two-tone look. I'm excited to also add this to our back berm. I think this is going to pop really nicely against the green of our green giant arborvitaes.
Eric, in the fall, this might be right behind the Princeton Century Ginkgo. So that really bright yellow with the blue, this is going to be a good one.
As we're learning here at Iseli, yellow and blue in the garden, really nice. A great little accent specimen is this Roundabout Colorado spruce. Super cute. It gets about 3 high, 2 wide, hardy down to negative 50. I mean, that's really cold. So tell us about this one.
Sure. So it's a super uniform, round spruce. I mean, that's kind of what it
really
is. Yeah. So not super fast in its growth rate. I'd say, about 3 inches a year. Has a nice consistent color. New growth is, I would say, a more vibrant sea green.
Okay.
But then this is kind of the winter color, so not dramatically different, but definitely less bright, but still beautiful.
I think it's going to be a great little accent in just the right bed in one of our vignettes where we need that little perfect accent.
I'm really excited to be getting more cypress in the garden. The hinoki cypress, this is called Iseli Green. So I'm assuming this is specific to Iseli Nursery.
Yeah, this is one of ours that we introduced.
I love that. And it's a green one. We also have a gold one that's going to be coming. And it is going to be 20 high, 15 wide, which won't take too long, actually, because you said this grows a little faster?
Yeah, it's a faster growing one. So this would be something that would need a little bit larger of a space. You could use it as a hedging option, or you could use it as a sculptural piece in your garden.
Oh, I don't know how we're going to use it, but we're definitely going to love using it. I love the green color, and this takes a little bit more of a bronzy tone in winter, and then it'll get a much brighter color as the season progresses.
We're not in the house of dragons, we're in the field of dragons, particularly the black dragon, a Japanese cedar. This is something we've never grown before. It is a newer variety, right?
Yeah, it's been around for a little bit, but it is a special one, and I think that you'll like it a lot.
All right, it gets about, 6 feet high, 4 feet wide, so it stays pretty small. Grows about 6-8 inches per year, hardy down to -10. Sun to part shade. So what do we have to look forward to? What makes this cool?
I mean, it maintains this nice green color. It has an excellent texture. The one we have in the garden has maintained kind of a pyramidal shape. The branches kind of swoop upward. And then it has these nice pollen cones that give it an interesting texture as well.
We are so excited getting to see the plants that are coming to our garden in person ahead of time. It's been an amazing day.
It's been super great. Thank you again to Roby for taking us through each specimen. Again, I'm Eric.
And I'm Christopher.
And we're Grow For Me Gardening.
Thanks for growing with us.